app for about three years now, 3 to 4.
I've yet to lose, and it's because there's some people on the app who are like really proficient with this, like Martha and Nate and Manimal. They're like pretty proficient, but for me, I don't even have to get too big into the nooks and crannies. This is all I use. I use basic logic, line of reasoning and questions, and language. That's just like even just one of those, like using basic linguistics, it all falls on its face. Like if you
their arguments are absurd. Like on their
they have to be absurd to me.
Dude, I started debating Jaden. That trans man, Jaden, he's not. Yeah, on baiting him is just.
Yeah. So the reason you're not getting many ops is right now they have a real issue with one of their own right now that they're taking it out on. They're going after an individual named Irish, and so they're having a whole like Shark Week fest over there about Irish and something that happened.
What did he do? Who is Irish? I never.
So Irish is a feminist, is a male feminist type debater. Yeah, and he's like really, really just belligerent Irish man who lives in New York. Used to be a lawyer, so he claims.
Someone said he's doxing Miss Kinsey.
Yeah. Apparently he doxed Kinsey. I don't know the whole truth.
Wait, we talking about Kinsey, the Kenya person that came on my panel, or that's a different person?
I'm not sure. I didn't see.
That is. Wow, that is, bro. They need to stop doxing, bro.
A lawyer doxing somebody? Yeah, I can't believe that.
Yeah, that is.
Well, I believe he doxed. I'm just saying I don't believe that he was a lawyer. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah, honestly, I've never believed that the man was a lawyer, especially with the way that he talks to people and acts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can't get.
Someone on their side, but why? What's the point of?
I can't get behind doxing. Like anybody on anybody's side who does it. Like,
yeah.
Like there is a guy. He's a cool dude. I don't know his real name, but it's like Cuttlefish. He hosts a lot of lives.
Yeah,
and I heard that he doxed somebody, and I was like, man, I can't
cut him off.
That,
yeah,
dude.
that's what I'm saying. Doxing is too like they comfortable.
Yeah, I can't. Like I don't know. Even people who are on my side. Like if someone's on my side and they dox somebody, it's like, man, like
I'm blocking you.
Listen, there is one exception that I would give to doxing, and even then it would require like a tremendous amount of proof. If somebody you knew for a fact, like you knew you had 100, if you had 100% verifiable proof that this person was a P3DO.
Yeah, I can see that. No, I 100% agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I'm talking, bro. But here's the thing, though. Here's my point, though, Bob. Like, to even do that for my standard, the burden of proof has to be like extraordinarily high. Like you have to be so sure. You have like, bro, I'm talking like video evidence, like picture evidence, video proof that this person's a P3DO, and then go ahead and dox them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. But you need video recorded because the pictures ain't gonna really do nothing. To be honest, screenshots can be edited, but it's no point. It's better to do it with voice than get like that whole.
I just think it's a little brown because shit gets messy and people are fucking crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, doxing is really, it's very childish. And I'd say even if you knew that they like committed a crime, I would say that it would be best to like contact the authorities wherever they live and let them manage it. The way that like on TikTok they'll have these stupid call out lives, like just. It's so gossipy and like lame. Like I'm like, can y'all? Are you all 13-year-old girls? Like, can you please?
Yeah, but my question is, someone's saying, what did Kinsey do? What did Kinsey do? Did Kinsey do something to them, or?
So from what I understand, from what I've been able to gather, because like I scroll around, I try to keep track of these people and see what they're doing, because I'm just one of those people who likes a lot of information. It was an Echo. Echo did a call out live on Irish. Apparently, Irish is making the claim that Kinsey backstabbed him and all of this stuff. Echo is making the claim that Irish doxed that individual and did all this other stuff, which is believable because Irish has made the claim that he could do it many times, has attempted to find information on people that have shown up on his panel. Like, he's put himself in a position where, this claim seems valid. Because he's literally made claims that he's had someone who can hack people's IP addresses, find out where they live, find out their name, find out their workplace.
I can believe that.
Is he currently a lawyer?
He's apparently retired, according to him.
How can you be a retired lawyer? How old is he?
He's like 50s or so. Like he's in his like 50s or 60s. Like, dude,
I don't know. That's been sketchy.
He has nothing better to do with his time.
Well, and like he put himself in a really weird position because he surrounded himself with all these like very simpy women who just followed whatever he said, and then now things are coming out that he might be doing something other weird, and everybody's turning their back on him, and yeah, it's become a whole like thing. I watched a little bit of it, and I was just like, all right, well, that's
that's I don't know. That's the problem with their whole community. They honestly, I don't.
Well, listen, I mean, Coffee's been there for some time. Some of the things, I mean, Manimal, I see Manimal down in the comments. What's up, baby? I've heard these people just say like the craziest shit, just generally, or just about me, about my wife, whatever it might be, and like you kind of just take it on the chin. Like, first of all, it's just words. Like, I mean, they don't really bother me. But like, I've never, ever got to the point where I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna dox these people. I'm going to do my best to negatively impact their lives. Like it's not.
Wait,
you know what I mean?
They're wrong. They're wrong, and they lose the debate. They're wrong every time.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you know they're wrong, because it's just like, hey, like we have nothing. Like our words or our ideas are not powerful. They're not powerful enough. Well, that's what I'm trying to say. What makes them do it? What makes them do it, bro, is like what Coffee was saying. Is like, okay, this is where this all started, right? Like, just bear with me for a moment. These people, and what I mean by these people, it's not just trans people. It's people who adhere to the progressive orthodoxy, right? For the greater so of a decade, these people ran their fucking mouths, and people did nothing about it, right? Here's what I mean by nothing about it, right? They said, hey, this is this, this is this, and this is this, and if you don't agree with it, you're a bigot, you're a racist, you're a xenophobe, you're trans, you're all these things. And here's the thing. Because these people had a chokehold on the public spaces, like the public center of ideas, which is basically like Twitter, all your major social media groups. These people had a chokehold on the culture for the greater so of a decade. So they ran their mouths, and no one was allowed to challenge them because it was easy to cancel that person. So most people were like, you know what, these people are fucking crazy. I don't even want to debate with these people, because we give them any pushback, this is what's going to happen, right? Mm-hmm. But it turns out when you have bad ideas, things fall apart quickly, and which they did, right? This movement lasted for, like I said, maybe 10 years, if that even. And when more and more, all it took, bro, Bob, was more and more people to be like, you know what, no, these are bad ideas. Wait, this doesn't make sense. Wait, this doesn't logically line up. And then enough people came out, and they said that they started giving pushback. And so listen, the only power that they had was not debate. The only power that they had was derogatory adjectives and threatening of canceling. Eventually people said, you know what, you can call me with this whatever you want. We don't even care anymore. It comes to a point where even half those people don't even care anymore. Bro, they wear it like a fucking badge of honor. So now you're in a position where it's like, we're trying to cancel these people. It's not working. We're calling them racist. We're calling them transphobes. We're calling them xenophobes. It's not working. What else can we do? Well, let's destroy their lives, because there's nothing else that we have against these people. And that's it. That's where it comes from.
Yeah, like they did to J.K. Rowling. They doxed her big time. Mm-hmm. Like, she had to move. Like, people, like, they send death threats, like, and they'll hurt people. They'll threaten them. But, like, and people, frankly, people have been cowards about this for about 10 years, like Lenny said. But people, like, these, the things they say are so crazy, and they're involving children, like, that. I mean, they dig their own grave, Yeah. It's impossible to ignore after a while.
Mm-hmm. It's just like, Bob, I don't know if that answered your question, but it's just, that's the only power that these people have. Because, dude, think about it. They were never, these ideas were never challenged, bro. This was the status quo. This was the status quo.
What I'm trying to say is, like, dude, why would you go out your route? Like, okay, like, let's say I disagree with you, and I say that, trans women are not women. Why would you go out your route to dox me because I disagree with your
president? Because they have nothing else. They can't do, because they're not.
The only way they're women, the only way trans women can be women is if they shut down anybody who says, no, that's a man.
Yeah. No, it's the truth. Bro, listen, Bob, they do not have a strong enough position to defend it with debate. They don't. They don't. If you have an idea or a position or legislation, whatever it might be, and it is strong enough to withstand pushback without doing any of this stuff like doxing, whatever, right? You can get yourself far in public discourse. But it didn't go far at all because, it did go far because because they dominated the public sector as far as like the culture war, lack of a better term. I don't like using that term, but we'll say the culture war, right? They were winning because nobody gave them pushback. And now that people they realize, well, our ideas are not as good as we thought. We're not, it's fickle. It's fickle. There's no integrity in their positioning. So it all falls apart very quickly.
Even on their own side, they can't come to an agreement on something, and without an agreement on something, they can't withstand the tidal wave of people who disagree with them. Like, I mean, that's just literally what hit them after the lockdown and everything. Like, people really stopped caring, and the whole disjointed position with no actual, cohesiveness just completely crumbled underneath the weight of toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also been people who have been pushing back since this is this whole time, and were canceled and treated horribly. A lot of women were like fired from their jobs. And
yep.
They've been like diligently working, and finally they were able to reveal the complete insanity of all of this to the greater public.
Well, the other thing is just how you guys were describing about doxing people on this side of the argument, they also don't have a lot of intellectual diversity. So when anyone even steps a little bit out of line or disagrees, it becomes corrosive. They eat their own. So it's at this point you're
it's
people who flat out
That's how
disagree with you. You're
members in line.
Yeah.
That's what happens. It's the inception of YouTube and Facebook. Back in Facebook and YouTube, there was the whole big push on the feminist side, the super PC side, that you can't say anything offensive side, right? And I sat here and watched as huge content creators that used to perpetrate these ideas of not being offensive. An example I like to use is Lacey Green. Lacey Green used to have a massive platform. But the moment that she tried to reach across the aisle and understand the opposition's viewpoint, they crucified her. Absolutely crucified her. Review bombed her YouTube channel, drove her out of YouTube, basically, about put her in a mental health incident. You know what I mean? Completely tried to just go after this person.
Their diversity is skin deep. That's as far as it goes.
Yeah, they did it to a lot of. They did it to what's her name? Ariana Scarcella. She's a lesbian, and she was really big on YouTube. She's still on there, and she was, she would talk about gay rights, and she was pretty pro-trans for a while. But when she was like, no, lesbians don't have to, be intimate with trans women. That doesn't make them transphobic. They viciously attacked her and pushed her all the way to the other side of the aisle. And now she's lesbians for Trump, just the complete opposite.
We got Zedgy in here. Zedgy.
I just called him X. Just called him X. Their whole name is confusing.
X. Okay. Yeah, I guess X wanted to say something.
Yeah, go ahead, X. Do you get your age? Do you disagree with the front, or do you agree?
I'm 27, and I do disagree with the front. But what I really want to say is that, there are extremists on both sides of the aisle, so I do understand the perspective of no one should be doxing people, period. Just because you disagree with someone doesn't mean they should put you in danger. And that's the thing, too, is, I do understand the perspective of, seeing the extremists in the community that I'm a part of and being oh, that encompasses them all as a whole. But I don't think we should put, everyone into, that side of the category. Because there are a lot of people who actually want to understand the way that other people think.
But here's the thing. That's a good take. That's a good take and all, but the majority of the time, when there is doxing involved, it's not really shocking that it does come from people who are kind of like tilted more on the left side of the fence.
Doxing on the other side as well. Doxing, I mean.
Yeah, but it's not as prominent. Like, I mean,
just as prominent.
I disagree. I disagree with that entirely. I mean, we have over a decade's worth of evidence that suggests that proves that when it came to ideological pushback, leftists, and like generally speaking, like they cannot handle it. They cannot handle it, and the only thing that they really have to go back on is hyperbolic psycho meltdowns, and they film their meltdowns on social media and they post it. And or just doxing people, because it's just what's the most recent one? I didn't see the whole debate because it's like hours long, and I don't watch podcasts. I'm not a podcast guy, but Andrew Wilson went on the Whatever podcast and he debated that Kylie girl, and she lost so bad that she's suing the podcast because she is trying to say that she was basically verbally, this is the quote, it was verbal SA. It was verbal SA because of
there are
so like that does a real disservice to actual people who are SA'd. Like what a stupid thing to
verbally
say.
SA'd? Isn't that
so ridiculous?
I actually recently have witnessed a lot. This one Trump supporter who's crashing out and doxing and harassing people. It's actually part of the TikTok drama that I'm in.
Okay, who is that? Well, so here's the thing. Even if who that is, like that Trump supporter doing that, like people are going to be like, no, they're going to face backlash for that. When you guys dox people, it's encouraged.
No, it's not.
I disagree because when it happened to Nate, when it happened to Nate and Envy, you guys were having lives about it, just crazy. You were making fun of You're making fun of Nate's family. You're making fun of Envy's family. When I say you guys, I'm talking about like the side that you're on. I'm not talking about like you yourself.
Yeah. So X. Like I've been watching this stuff happen again. I've been on the internet since the internet was really in the home. Okay, I'm 37 years old. I've been watching the rise of the internet, the rise of Google, the rise of MySpace, the rise of Facebook, the rise of YouTube. You know what I mean? I saw TikTok come into inception. I've watched all these platforms show up. And I've watched what happens on these platforms because I love that kind of stuff. I love to watch people. I love to see how people interact with things. And when I've sat here and watched, it is 100%, 90% of the time, it is the super left, the way more left-leaning groups that are way more comfortable with doxing people, with showing up at people's houses, with doing all these harmful behaviors, with tearing their own apart. Like they are way more okay with basically just burning everything because they didn't agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched it happen over and over again. You saying that it can be both sides, but what's going on right now with Kenzie? Kenzie's part of that, like that community, that part of your community, and they being attacked, they being targeted, they being looked down, and they being doxxed right now on a panel full of a group of people.
My friends are being doxxed by this specific Trump supporter, and I'm saying it happens on both sides of the aisle. There are extremists on every political point. Even I'm not a liberal, so I'm not
saying it doesn't happen, but as someone who sits in the middle, like I've been in the political middle like my entire life, so I don't hold allegiance to the right, the left, the commies, the nationalists. I don't hold allegiance to any of them, none of them. And I've sat here and watched, and most of the time, when you see this behavior, it comes from the left. There are people on the right who mimic that behavior, who will do the exact same thing. And guess what? Most of them, if you actually listen to what they said, they started doing it because the left was doing it, and they saw how powerful it was.
Bro, it's completely undeniable, man. Like we have over a decade of evidence to show that, dude, this was even happening to celebrities. It's like you dare not say anything and speak against status quo, or you will get shut down. Like this brewed over because what happened was that you guys like literally had a stronghold on spaces like Twitter, and Twitter for a long time. I'm 30, but when I was in college, I even say high school, Twitter was the public sector. That was it was culture Times Square.
was Twitter. Like, whatever was happening in the world, whatever the breaking news was, it was on fucking Twitter. It was nowhere else. Everything else was first on Twitter. Everything. It even beat 4chan and Reddit at one point. But what I'm saying is, on there, when I say you guys, I'm talking about the side that you came in here talking about your side. So I'm just going to bundle you all together as your side. Not saying you individually, you X. I'm going to say as a collective, your side.
I understand.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You guys had this stronghold on the language. You guys dictated what the public conversation was. You did. I'm not going to lie. I can't deny that. You guys determined what was spoke about and what was heresy. That's what you guys had. You guys had that power. And but my point is in any time, even celebrities, bro, how many stories of celebrities do we have to pull up of celebrities having to retract a statement or apologize for like a movie they were in fucking 30 years ago, and just little stupid things like that.
Well, you know what it is too? It's like I said before, like, you know, the cancel culture was championed by left-leaning people, but on top of that, like, they had the mantra that was, you know, you're free, you have freedom to speak, but you don't have freedom from consequences. It was like born from that, and like I somewhat agree with that, but like what it really like resulted in was like fueling the doxing and the canceling, and it like gave like, I don't know, it gave legs to like this movement that like almost turned into like a witch hunt.
Whereas you guys want to hear my perspective?
Yeah, let's hear your perspective.
Sorry. So my perspective on this is I would never want to police the way that people are speaking. I don't want to be the one, like, you have to be Sedgy and Ox because that's all I know. That's not how I am. I personally believe that you guys and me should be able to live our lives the way that we are without forcing it onto each other. I genuinely believe in a world where everyone has their own unique diversity and understanding. I do understand that there are extremist liberals in the sense, but I do not associate with extremists either because even I would get canceled. I understand from both sides of the spectrum.
And can you understand why women would feel as though we're being impeded on when you say that a trans woman is a woman?
No, not really.
Well, it's probably because they're not women, and yet they're trying to use language and use spaces and take accolades and scholarships from women. This is stuff that we've been fighting for hundreds of years in order to have an equal seat at the table. And we still don't have an equal seat at the table. And now we have a very niche group of individuals that want to claim something that they're not, and everyone is expecting women to just roll over and accept it, and that's not the way it's going to go.
I can tell when someone is actually trans versus just being disingenuous. Most men who pretend to be trans women just dress up and still identify as men.
Well,
so it
doesn't, I mean, it's not necessarily men who are not really trans or whatever. There's plenty of, like, really trans women. Oh, fucking dog. Hang on. Fucking dog.
X, here it is right here. The very first thing you said was that trans women are women. That is an imposition on what it is to be a woman. That alone
to biological women.
Respect against half of the population of the world.
I have a question real quick, but before I ask the question, Ashley, can I just get your age and do you disagree with the prompt?
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm 26. I'm from New York, and I just want to say a quick thing with the prompt. I agree this is not a woman. Doesn't matter what you feel and the surgeries you do. Your bones will say the gender when scientists see and dig it up. At the end of the day, only a hermaphrodite can identify with two genders, and usually they'll do the studies according to what they identify the most and their body develop the most. Everybody else, like, what you feel and how you think and whatever the case is, when you're dead, if your body decomposes and you're in the middle of nowhere, they will identify you with your bones. That's your gender.
Yeah, well, a couple of things. So I understand, like, hermaphrodite. So, like, humans
humans can't be hermaphrodites, right? So a hermaphrodite organism is an organism that basically produces both functioning reproductive systems. When it comes to mammals, with humans, we fall under either the Müllerian, which transitions into the female reproductive pathway, or the Wolffian pathway, which, transcends into the male reproductive pathway. So what you're referencing when you say interschmex, what you're referencing when you say hermaphrodites, you're talking about interschmex, right? So DSD, so development, disorders of schmexual development. There's over about I think there's 61 or 62 conditions, and they're identified by chromosome patterns. There's XXY, or there'll be XYY, or different kind of patterns, and these conditions have a different name for each of them and what the function is, or the dysfunction of it. But those individuals, those interschmex individuals, they still either denote to either the Wolffian or the Müllerian pathway. So there will always be a binary to refer to. So what I'm saying is they're all either male or female conditions. It just depends on what you have.
I just wanted to ask Ashley out of pure
I have a
curiosity.
friend that has that condition, and she has a vagina, and she has a very little
Friend is
micropenis.
not a hermaphrodite,
Well,
sweetheart.
yeah. So when you say that condition, what condition? There's over there's 61 or 62. There's not the condition. There's a bunch of them.
I'm aware, yeah. But what I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, you're trying to be something that you're naturally not. You can be, you can feel it, but then if you decompose what your bones feel, that's what you are at the end of the day.
Yeah, we agree. We agree, but the whole hermaphrodite thing, that's not a condition. Your friend is not diagnosed as a hermaphrodite. A doctor will not say you're diagnosed. A doctor would not diagnose somebody with hermaphrodism. It would just be whatever particular interschmex condition that they have.
Can I please ask Ashley a question? I don't like to interrupt. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Ashley, when you said that, you're not you, but, when you said you're not a woman, do you mean the trans women in the prompt or me? Out of pure curiosity, hon.
Just any man that wants to be a woman. You're not. I'm sorry. You don't have ovaries. You can't have babies. Okay? A woman that wants to be a man, you're not going to grow a penis. Okay? Only trans women can automatically, chop it off, but still, you do not have the same reproductive system that I have. You're not going to get a period. There's a lot that comes to it. If you decompose in the middle of nowhere, and everything just your bone, it's what's going to identify you, either a male or a female. You can't change that. From thousands of years from now, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change. You can feel, you can think, you can live your life the way you want to live, but the truth is, that's what it comes down to.
I just wanted to say that I appreciate you guys all being respectful to me. I'm trying to be here out of pure curiosity.
Of course. Yeah, I don't want to be hateful towards trans people. There's plenty that we interact with all the time who are on our side. It's not really about the individual trans people themselves. It's about the idea that a man can be a woman, and there's several trans people we talk to who know that they haven't actually become the opposite sex, and who doesn't want to invade opposite sex spaces, which is fine. But then it's you live your life.
Wait, can I say something real quick? You said trans people can't get periods, correct? My confusion with that one is, what is HRT? Because someone was talking about that they use HRT, and I guess HR2 helps them get cramps.
It's hormones. It's hormones.
Oh, it's hormones?
Yeah, it is a form of hormone, yeah.
It stands for hormone replacement.
Really just hormone replacement.
HRT is hormones that are supposed to replace a deficiency in existing bodies. So HRT is intended for if it's female estrogen, for women in menopause that are losing estrogen, or men dealing with a loss of testosterone. It's a replacement therapy, not a invasive therapy. So when a male takes an exceeding amount of estrogen, it can cause variations in the body makeup and the chemistry makeup behind it. But HRT originally was designed to replace the loss of the existing production of a hormone.
Correct.
Yeah, they appropriated the term, basically. They took the term.
I'm curious, what do you guys think about parents that consent to their children wanting to go under transition?
I do not talk about children.
They're freaks. That's
I think
what I say. I'm not very polite about this kind of stuff. Because I mean, if you're a parent and you just are just putting your child through this, knowing that they are going to have a lifelong, campaign of like intense complications beyond psychological state of mind, then you're just a freak. I'm sorry. Like there you are.
Well,
I'm not going to be nice about it.
Parents tend to fall into two groups. One of them are.
Coffee, okay? Sorry, I apologize.
That's fine. Yeah.
One of them is parents who are, super woke, like totally with it, and possibly encourage the transition, but they're down for it. Like a bunch of celebrities in Hollywood who suddenly have like 3 trans kids. That's one flavor of parents, and that is a very problematic parent. But the other side is that a lot of parents are being manipulated into allowing their children to do these medical interventions because they're being told by doctors that their child will unalive themselves if they don't. So it's emotional manipulation.
It's child.
There's actually statistic out there that
Wait, guys, 1 second, please, 1 second. Macho, just let me get your age, and do you agree or disagree with the prompt?
Yeah, I'm 26, and I disagree.
Okay.
Sorry, I agree. Sorry.
Okay. And my lies, can I get your age, and do you agree or disagree?
40, I disagree.
Okay. You guys go back to talking. My apologies.
The statistics regarding children dealing with being trans or not, over 80%, if left alone, will outgrow it themselves naturally. And astonishingly, 90% of those children, if they are affirmed throughout that situation, will end up transitioning instead of just outgrowing it naturally.
And there's no actual evidence that that these gender dysphoric kids are unaliving themselves at any sort of significant rate. And there's no evidence that putting them on puberty blockers or hormones would alleviate any sort of self-unaliving tendencies that they have. It's just complete bullshit.
It's harming a child when you allow this to happen. Like, you don't know the outcome of anything because it's not guaranteed.
It's way too intense and invasive of an intervention to make for a child, and especially because it's based entirely on that child's current mood or opinion or belief. And children are extremely malleable, and all of those things change, as they grow up. So it's ridiculous that it's even a thing.
Yeah, you're going to stop your child from putting a fork into a light socket because you know the outcome and it's going to harm them. And when you allow your child to go through these invasive procedures, you know it's harming them. You know that this is not natural, and they need to wait until their brain is fully formed, because they can't make that type of decision on their own.
There's unfortunately a lot of misinformation and a lot of just lies out there being told to parents, just outright falsehoods by doctors, by therapists, by anyone that a child would see for these issues. And I mean, even state governments,
I do believe that people that are fully formed should be able to do want with their bodies. For
Yeah.
sure.
Once they're adults, that's that's up to
Wait,
them.
but X, are you saying for
There's
kids?
definitely stipulations for that.
No, someone who is fully formed, which means like the mental
Okay.
state capacity like my age or young or a little younger, not under 21.
No, I think there's
I
stipulations
thought
for
you
that.
said informed at first, X.
Oh no.
And then I got another question real quick. Why don't
Because I don't talk
X,
about
I have another question I want to ask you. Because I keep hearing this when I go into these panels. They keep saying I was born trans. How are you born trans?
Well, some people like me have experienced a lack of identification with their assigned sex at birth. I don't fully feel like a female, and it's like, sure, yes, I am biologically a female, but I've never felt the same way as the average female, and I never understood the experience personally.
How do you know that?
What does the average female
how do
feel
you,
like?
Yeah, how do you know how the average female feels?
I don't.
So then how would you know
Say
you
that.
don't feel that way?
Because
I'm not the average female. Like, I'm totally straight masculine woman, right? Like, I was in the military. I played football growing up. I did ROTC growing up. I was a hunter. I hunt and I camp and I fish. Like, I do guy things, right? The more masculine rolled things, I do those. I'm still a woman. And, I mean, like, I don't understand why we as women have allowed this small group of individuals that have a mental disorder, because it's what it is, right? How we have allowed them to all of a sudden completely recreate what it is socially to be considered woman. Why is it being rooted down to an aesthetic? Why is it being rooted down to, quote, gender roles? Why are we allowing society to dictate what we as women are and choose to be on how we act and how we dress and how we behave and so on and so forth? You know, my mom and my grandmother fought against this. I fought against this.
And that's valid because I agree we shouldn't be restricted by strict gender roles. I actually do not believe in gender roles. I believe they were a forced construct to control women.
So then why would we sit here and say it's okay for a man or a woman to, quote, dress or aesthetically present as the opposite sex and then claim to be said opposite sex? It's just asthma. Like, just be a happy femboy, just be an awesome mask girl. Like, be good being how you are, but how you are is not an equivalent of what you are.
And a lot of that's another misconception too. A lot of people think that these things were established in society. A lot of people have like this irrational opinion of like how these things were formed in society. Like gender roles between men and women, like for the majority of human existence, these roles were put in place for the purpose of survival. It wasn't like, oh, what roles can we put women in to oppress them? Well, then you just are then you just have no like historical understanding of anything then.
Oh no, I do. Trust me.
I don't think you do, because here's the thing.
To complement the woman's abilities. And
Yeah, so like the idea that you think like the roles or what was placed on women was like oppressive, like that's very irrational. Like there's actually more of a rational explanation as to why roles. Hold on a second.
That was oppressive. But things like being a mother is like that role is not oppressive.
Yeah, but my point is like these roles, quote unquote, existed in the majority of the human race because like we did these things because it was predicated on our survival and like and the reproduction and the thriving of the species. See, like I don't understand why we have a generation now where everyone just thinks they know everything and they know more than our ancestors because we have a fucking computer in our pockets. Like we don't know more than how can we say we know more than our ancestors? Why? Because we have computers in our pockets. That's completely irrelevant to human evolution. It's completely irrelevant. My point is like these roles existed globally, generally speaking, because it was predicated on survival. Like
they weren't the exact same globally. They're different depending on where you are.
So should I say that men were oppressed because men were conscripted to go to war?
Men were not oppressed. They chose war. They created.
They chose
Whoa!
what?
Huh?
Dude, this is why talking to leftists is like it's very, very, very exhausting. Like, because you guys think every social structure that existed in the human species was based on oppression. Like that's what you think. That's what you believe.
I think,
because you've been tricked into thinking that. Like the idea that like men created war. It's not like, so you're a nation, right? And you have an army. If you don't have an army and you get conquered by a nation, whose fault is that? Whose fault is that?
Who made the draft then? Was it women who made the draft?
Dude, listen, I'm not justifying the acts of war. What I'm saying is this was just the human condition, okay? We didn't have, dude, for thousands of years, we did not have the technology and the comfort that we do today. So what happened? One nation has something, another nation doesn't. What did they do? They invaded and they conquered it. It's just what happened. I'm not justifying it. It just is what it is. It was a conscription.
Women would have done the same, to be honest.
Exactly. It was a conscription of human nature.
If somebody has something and you need it, and you really need it, and it's a necessity, you're gonna find a way to get it. Like you think like we're not gonna be placed on the same system? That's really ignorant of you.
No,
but my point is we don't have to go down the pipeline of like war and stuff. My point is this: like the majority of these things existed in society. These roles existed because it was predicated on thriving and survival, not about like, oh, well, how can we put ourselves into a position to oppress women? Like that, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, okay, if you want to talk about the Middle Eastern nations, yeah, maybe you have an argument there, but like, I mean,
America
asking about who created the draft.
America's oppressive. Okay, who's more oppressive, Eastern society or Western society? Who's more oppressive to women?
I'd say America is pretty oppressive. I'm not saying one's worse than the other.
America is more
I've been to the
oppressive.
Middle East. I've been to Afghanistan, and I will tell you that Afghanistan is truly more oppressive to women than America.
Hold on a second. This is why. Listen, this is why I always say, Bop, if you're there. It's why I always say these people. Just, they haven't really done anything in the world yet. They haven't ventured out. They haven't really experienced other places other than their home or their college, university. They don't really understand how the world works, right? So I'm not denying that the Western system is flawed, right? It's not perfect, but if you were going to convince me that women in America are oppressed compared to places that like actually unalive women for having a different opinion, like you're just losing the argument.
Yeah, that is most likely true.
Well, like Western society has done more for women, like advocated for women with rights that women never had.
X, you do realize sorry,
well, the thing is, when women need men.
And men have a monopoly on force. That's true.
Force.
Yeah, and most societies, even if women wanted, all of them, but a lot of them.
Do you not understand in today's society, you say women get oppressed, women are getting oppressed. What is like, I'm not saying what's going on, but I'm asking you, because you say women are getting oppressed in the United States, what's being oppressed by them? Like, what is happening to women right now? Do they not have the right to speak? Do they not have the right to work? Do they not have the right to build their own business, set up their own farm? Like, what can women not do that men cannot do?
Well, they're trying to take away the rights of reproductive health for women in a lot of states. Any
AB procedure that is required to save the life of the mother in most states is not considered an AB, and they will perform the procedure if it is needed to save the life of the mother. So that's incorrect. That's incorrect.
Wait, 1 second, panel. 1 second. Doc want to come up, but do you agree with the prompt or do you disagree with the prompt?
I think Doc's on our side, but I want to just say one thing, and then I'll go on mute and let the ladies talk. But like, see, in my worldview and in my opinion, I'd venture to say that the ladies here would agree with me. I think the most oppressive thing that you actually can do to women is take away their language and hijack actually what it means to be a woman. I'm just a regular guy. I consider that to be pretty oppressive to the point where like you just hijack language. So that's pretty oppressive.
Hijacking what a woman is.
And removing us at our core. To sit here and say that we are no longer what we are, and that you or
the system. Where did the system come from?
Can now be
one second. I'm gonna let everybody talk about X for 1 second. But do you agree or do you disagree with the prompt?
I think that's not a woman.
Okay, cool. We need to bring someone up. We looking for pretty much. Just give me a second. I'll bring you right back up. Here, Doc. Come up, buddy.
As far as the differences between Afghanistan and the United States, I promise you the women in Afghanistan are oppressed. I've been there. It
probably
is
more visible, yeah.
Well, X, so to give you a history of what I've done for the embassy when we closed it down. I worked there for 5 years. I also deployed there in the military, and I saw the rise of women's rights, being equal to men. They could they could vote, they could speak outside, they could walk without their husband, they could dress whatever they want, and they could drive, they could vote, they could work. But once we left and the Taliban took control again, those rights were stripped away week by week. Women had to wear hijabs again. Women could not vote. Women can't pray in public. Women can't leave the home without their husband or a son, a male adult, and they just can't do anything except procreate now, again. So tell me, how is it that American women are oppressed?
Are oppressed, even if it's more visible.
How are women oppressed? Compared to Afghanistan women, which they just stripped all their rights.
Now, see, Doc, I do agree. I agree with X on this one. Women are being oppressed here in the United States because now we have men claiming our language, claiming our spaces, claiming our medical.
I was getting there. I'm sorry. I just only have a few minutes because I got to get back to doing paperwork. So,
yeah, to not recognize that Afghanistan
I'm sorry, Coffee. I got a couple minutes.
So much worse is
I got a couple minutes. I'm sorry. Z, so again, how is it compared to Afghanistan that women are oppressed? Besides the whole thing
that I've never been to Afghanistan, to be honest with you.
Because
I'm being honest, at least.
We are going into women's spaces here. Besides that, how are other rights being stripped away besides men taking it away?
It's just like women just are. Like, I've been through the systematic oppression a woman has faced at some point, so I understand it does exist. I don't have proof of that right now, but I do understand that women in America are oppressed, especially if they get pregnant. They are more likely to be murdered.
Oh, what?
What?
Well, murder is the number one cause of death for pregnant women.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not a form of oppression, though.
It's not an oppression by it's because of individual men's bad positions.
Yeah. But I'm just trying. I get what you're saying. I get what everyone's saying, but you can't justify saying women are oppressed because they have rights here.
To sit there and say that because that's the number one unaliving rate, but that's not. Well, if a woman becomes pregnant, automatically she's unalive? No.
Yes.
I'm saying, now I understand crimes of passion and criminal activity. I get that aspect of it, and that's the number one cause, right? But it's not oppression in the sense that that we're speaking of when we speak about Afghani women.
Yes. Correct.
There's actual laws that are keeping Afghani women from performing the same activities as Afghani men.
Yeah, I mean, they strip them away. They're just like a third category, which is what trans movement is doing with women over here. Yes, I get the same. It's on the same concept, but they're not. Women aren't being oppressed. It's just men are trying to get their men's rights movement, which is ridiculous. But it's as far as rights, technically, no, they're not being oppressed. So I think you should use a different term.
Like Western society clearly cares about women, and like it clearly has been progressing towards benefiting women. Well, no, they have been. That's why we were given the right to vote. That women can't vote in a lot of different countries. Like women can't have their own bank accounts. Women can't own property in a lot of places. The fact that's now considered in our culture just a default and nobody questions it. It's proof. It highlights that Western culture is light years ahead of a lot of other parts of the world.
Yeah, so one more thing before I drop back down. See that she is right on the money, because since 1920, which is the American women's suffrage movement, like the UK had theirs, we had ours after the UK did, and then we had Equal Rights Act of 1920, which now Biden put in, which was the only good thing that he did in his term, that it's 28th Amendment. So, I mean, with the men going into these spaces, you're erasing that 102 year history that women have those rights. So, I mean, it's regressive, not progressive with this movement. And also one thing, Bob, I think you might have to rotate your screen. It's black also down in the comments.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Also, Doc, before you go, I just wanted to say I appreciate you being respectful to me. A lot of people have a different opinion about you, but I've seen you as really respectful so far.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, respect is earned, not given. You came up here last night and you were pretty respectful of all of us, so that's how it works around
here. My best, I do. Because I want to understand other people's perspectives, because everyone believes they're doing something for the better. Like, we both believe we're doing what's best for ourselves and others.
Yeah.
So do you now understand, do you still think that, I'm just saying, did your point of view change, or do you still think that in America right now, in this current era, that women are being freely expressed?
Well, here's the thing: women do face forms of oppression here in the U.S. because it's kind of inevitable, because we are the more vulnerable sex, but. And humans, all we can do is to, try and socially figure out how to, make it so women can live full and complete lives, that, like men can, and that vulnerability not, just define us. And in Western culture, we're genuinely trying to do that. And in countries like Afghanistan, they are not genuinely trying.
Yeah, they're not.
To do
They don't
care.
give women rights, the women to speak. It's a lot of stuff they're just doing. They're just stripping away everything from them.
I'm really glad that I came up to talk. Can I rejoin later? I have a lot of stuff to do, but I'm glad that I came up again, and I'll come back later. I appreciate you.
All right, X, no problem.
Have a great day. I'll be back later.
When we talk about Iran, how they don't.
Wait, hold up, Ben. What's your age?
I'm
do
19.
you agree or disagree with the prompt?
I 100% agree with you. Just on that prompt. I mean, I think it's I don't like how they try to push it to the kids and all that. I think it's bullshit. I don't like it. I think it's sicko, in my opinion.
And make sure you already on the panel. I know you. You good. You good. I know you came up though, but you good. And so you say what you want to say with Iran. I guess what you was trying to say.
After what Nixon said is that the Shah Iran, he was really good for that country, because back then women used to have right until the 1979 Islamic Revolution. So I'm just saying, I'm not trying to blame it on I think it's that these rational leaders of these countries, they need to change it. I don't think the people are bad people. I think that it's the leaders that control these type of countries are the reason why these countries are so far behind in technology and advancement. and they make them grow up to hate the Western civilization. In reality, it's not even the Western's fault. It's actually their own leaders' fault because they pushed them back.
Well, the revolution in Iran was, that was the people's revolution. Like,
it was a
the
people's
culture,
revolution.
the people are the ones who pushed for that.
Yeah, but also the leader actually, he promised people were going to have rights and all that. What happened after? Tell me, what happened after that revolution happened in '79? After he took the Shah, ran out.
Yeah, that's when it
was too late.
That's when women stopped having rights.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the culture has
may I ask you a question?
Has chosen, they've chosen one leader after the other that reflected those ideas.
Thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think that people, when they voted for Schmittler back in 1933, right? Do you think that, they thought that he was actually going to be good, right? You realize that, right?
A lot of Germans supported Hitler.
Yes,
into him doing terrible things, he was supported.
You got to say Schmittler.
You got to say Schmittler, yeah. So, or I can give you another example. When people voted in Julius Caesar, they had to assassinate him after. When these leaders make up these lies, making promises that this country is going to be better, they what they do is to pivot it and blame it on somebody, so they can get the vote for the people. You see that Islamic Revolution did the same thing. The leader did the same thing.
People, it's up to the people to, create a system where a single person can't get into power and destroy everything. That's what the United States is.
You're right.
It was
Thank you
people
for saying
who
that.
wanted to avoid that kind of power even happening.
So let me ask you something. If you live in Iran, you go ahead, you gather a few of your people, maybe a whole community, and they go against the regime. What do you think is going to happen to you? I'm just curious. Because it's not like America. We go against
just a few people, then overall the culture supports it.
What about the community? Let's say the whole community,
what about the community
protests against the leaders in Iran. What do you think happens?
My point is, a significant portion of the culture there, the people there, the average people are support what they do. There's some that don't, for sure, but it's not the majority.
So let me ask you a question, Comfy. Thank you for bringing that up. Do you think that people, when they say they support it, do you really actually think they really support it, or they're just saying they support it so they won't get fucking, schmurda?
Oh, I think a lot of the men support it. A lot. Because a lot of them benefit from it.
That is true. A lot of them benefit from it. But, those type of people are sickos, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So, they deserve everything that's happened to them. But I think this is a fucked up shit, even if we get involved, which, we already took out their fucking nuclear sites, right? Even if we get involved, they're going to say that we're, pieces of shit. So, do you think we're going to destabilize, the Middle Eastern? Because, at the end of the day, I will be honest with you, though. I do think that, actually, it is America's fault that Iran actually became Islamic Revolution because,
well, that part of the world has been has been overwhelmed with violence and disarray and not been destabilized for hundreds of years, maybe thousands, long before the U.S. was conceived of. That region had significant problems, a lot of violence, a lot of fighting, very destabilized, and so I think you can't necessarily blame the U.S. for that. You have to look at what it is about the culture that is cultivating this, the way this behavior.
But you did know that in the 50s, the CIA did a coup in Iran, right? which then eventually will lead up to the Islamic Revolution. So I'm not trying to blame America on like all this chaos. I'm just saying that they kind of caused it with the coup they made in the 50s.
Well, they interfered, but if the culture had strength, then people have tried to interfere in lots of countries and